Hello there, everyone, and welcome into this lecture. Now, in this lecture, I'm going to show you how you can navigate your way through Google Docs, which is the original way that we're going to use to write the book. And on my sense is just writing the book, because for Kindle, we're going to use their own application, which is Amazon Create or Kindle Create. Let me show it to you right now. So this is basically their application. And here is where I've curated the book, the 59 ChatGPT hacks, because it allows me to download it as a EPUB and KPF format book, which is usually the format of the Kindle ebook, right? Because people are usually reading the ebook on tablets and phones, and so you need to format it a certain way. I'll get to that later when we get to formatting. But as of now, let's first of all type in the title of our book. So the title of our book, we've already basically established what is going to be the title for the book. So it's going to be the ChatGPT Money Machine. But we're not going to be using the entire title at the beginning. We're just going to use the ChatGPT Money Machine. This is pretty, I should say, straightforward. So I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to consider this as my title, and I'm going to consider the rest as the subtitle. What here, instead of a dummy guide, I'm going to say a ChatGPT dummy guide. Or probably, I think let's just not use ChatGPT. Let's just keep it like that. But that will be our subtitle. So if we go back here, now notice how this is pretty far up at the top. I'm going to enter. And down here, the left-hand side, you can see the page measurements. And if you scroll down enough, you will see that this page is basically the size of it is, right, so it's at 27, right, so 27 inches. No, not inches, actually, 27 centimeters, if I'm correct. And so if I click enter, it should be in between 13 and 14. So you can see that this is it. Yeah, it's exactly in where we want it to be. And now I can select the title, and I'm going to click here on this to format it as a title. So I'm going to apply a title to it. And you can see that now it has grown bigger. And I could just click on it, and I will go over here to align and indent and make sure it's centered. Now that we got this out of the way, let me go ahead and add a fine line. Notice this fine line that we have over here, which basically separates the book title and subtitle. That one is actually crucial. Okay, so the ChatGPT Money Machine, and I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to click Insert. Now here we have a bunch of elements, excuse me, horizontal line, and now we have our horizontal line. I'm going to add an enter, and I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. I'm just going to copy the a dummy guide to online earnings. I'm going to copy that, go back right here, and paste it. Now this, I'm going to click it twice, click over here, and I'm going to make it the subtitle of the book. So now it became automatically the subtitle of the book. Notice that the color difference, which is good because people are now able to make the difference between what is title from what is subtitle. And so I'm going to click align, and now it's aligned perfectly in the center. Now, because I own a brand, the passive income brand, it's my own brand, e-learning brand, I'm going to click insert an image, and I'm going to drive an image from my computer. I could insert an image in different ways, but I prefer to insert this image specifically using this way. Going to insert, click insert, upload the image from your computer, and I can go and fetch the image on my computer. Right, so now that we've added the image, you can see that this image is pretty big, but worry not, because you can actually make the image smaller if you want to. So you can resize this image like this. I'm going to resize it to the point where it becomes really small, like this. And I'm going to click on it, and here I can actually put it in the middle. So I can click this. Right, make sure that you click the image, go over here, and put it in the center. Now we have our image, and this is good. So now this plays out good. We have the initial part, except for the fact this is not perfectly centered. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually up this a little bit, but let me just go back. You can always go back like this. I'm going to select everything like this, so including the image. And actually, here's what I can do. I can do another thing which is better. I can go back here at the bottom, and continue adding enter. I think I'm going to have to do it manually. Okay, so we're going to have to do it manually. So I'm going to do it one by one, like this, and just a little bit more, and I'll center this back. Now I'll make sure that this is perfectly centered and symmetrical. So making sure that there is the same space that is between the top and the bottom is basically the same. Now I think I have to do 2 more touches. Now aesthetics are pretty important. You don't want people to get the idea about you that you're lazy. So you want to make sure that you give them their what they signed up for. Now over here I can click like this, make it the beginning. Now we have the title of our book. So the next part is we're going to have to go ahead. Now the table of contents is soon to add the table of contents now. And I'll show you how to add that later, but it's pretty soon to add it. It's not the time to add it now. But the first part is the introduction. So the introduction can easily be written using ChatGPT. If we go back right here, this is the first chapter. So I'm going to take the first chapter. And now I'm going to change the writing style. Obviously, you can't do this because you don't have the APRM Premium extension. But you can ask ChatGPT instead of just selecting it from here. So in my case, I don't have to ask it. I'm just going to set the writing style to persuasive. And the topic, the tone style, I'm going to set it to optimistic. These are my preferred styles. Now you can change the output to any language, but since we're writing an English book, so I'm just going to keep it in the English language. And over here, I'm going to type in the chapter name, just type in the chapter name, and I'm going to say write the introduction and make it concise and to the point. Because if I didn't say that, ChatGPT is going to take its liberty. And it's probably going to take a long time, or it's going to write a big introduction. And we don't want the introduction to be so big because we want to move straight to business. And right here, I'm just going to hit enter. Notice what's going to happen right now. ChatGPT is going to go over and it's going to start writing the chapter for us, the introductory chapter. Now, in the meantime, while ChatGPT is writing the introductory chapter, I'm going to continue hitting enter, 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 enter until I have a new page. And in that page, I'm going to insert the name of the chapter. Notice what happens. When I copied the chapter name from ChatGPT, it was copied with a wrong formatting. So I'm going to click or select the name, click on format here at the top and clear formatting. But that's not the end. I'm going to click here and I'm going to go to heading number 1. I'm going to apply heading number 1. So here's how the structure will play out. Heading number 1 is for the chapter. Heading number 2 is for the subheadings inside of that chapter. So this one is heading number 1. This one is also heading number 1. And this one is also heading number 1. Now, in my case, because my book was so large, 152 pages, I have basically went over up to heading number 2, which is as far as you can get right here using basically Google Docs. You can go as far as heading number 3. But I think that this is also good. This structure, heading number 1 is the chapter. Heading number 2 is whatever follows it. This is the right way to go about it. And if you do it this way, it's going to make it incredibly easy for you to create the table of contents using Google Docs later when you need to do so. Now that we have the proper format for the title of the chapter, I'm just going to go back and now the real deal begins. How do you check content for AI content plagiarism, as well as how do you check if the content was detected as an AI generated content? And I'll see you in the next lecture where I'm going to give you the clues. I'm going to show you how you can bypass AI content detectors and also how to make sure that you write content that has very, very low plagiarism to make sure that no copyright issues arise in the future. Stay tuned and see you in the next lecture.